Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Our next guest, Chisom Ogbumuo, is an advocate for teen girls and the founder of the Conversation Cafe, a safe space for transformative and educative dialogues that engenders community development. She's also the producer of Her, a short film that spotlights the current issues relating to the girl child, such as period poverty, child marriage, child molestation, rape, and environmental issues. She's joining us now to tell us how we can all be involved in making society a safe place for the girl child. Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So I saw the preview of the movie Her, of the documentary.
Yeah, it's a short film.
A short film, right?
Yes.
And it was excellent. But let's start with the term period poverty, and let's discuss what that really means.
Okay, so I think, period poverty comes from lack of access to hygienic sanitary pads and, all the other things necessary to keep yourself clean as a girl. And this mostly occurs in developing countries who are very poverty-related reading societies. So girls who in less developing countries do not have access to most of these things because they can't even afford basic needs such as food, water, and things like that.
But it's actually a global phenomenon, because I remember about 2 winters ago, I remember just thinking they must be freezing. These ladies marched to Downing Street demanding period products, sanitary products for girls in the UK, saying that a lot of girls in the UK cannot go to school when they're on their period because they have nothing. So these are things we take for granted, tampons, sanitary towels, what have you. Some people just don't have access to that, and as a result, they stay at home. So if that's happening in the UK, in the West, we can imagine the extent of the problem in Nigeria.
Yes.
How do girls go to school then?
So, in times like this, girls do not go to school because, most of them are body shamed or are period shamed for certain things. Oh, you're stained. They don't even think about it at that point. And then the ones who can afford to go to school use things like old rags and T-shirts, and they have to constantly be on their toes because, they don't want it to be stained. Those are for people who are very self-aware and self-conscious about these things. So it's terrible here. I know what you're talking about concerning the UK, but you can imagine the
even
things
especially and then especially even in in rural areas. I wanted to talk about the film, but also I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, as we are talking about period poverty, there's also a lack of education on the young women that are going through this process. People a lot of times just tell them that, well, now you have to take care of yourself now, and this means you're a woman. And I have to even say, as someone, when I started my period and my mom was sort of trying to have this conversation with me, it wasn't really clear what this meant and how, how do you conduct yourself going forward. So I can only imagine what it must be like for other people. And this is so important because earlier this year when we were covering the Oscars.
You liked that film, I remember.
Yes, there was a film called Period End of Sentence, and it won an Oscar in the short film category because this is such a huge issue in India, and it was really about period stigma, period poverty, and also lack of education around period, even for men. And so the clip of it, it was like you could see these men and they said, what does a period mean? And they were like, well, it's this, it's that. People didn't really understand what it meant. And seeing the preview yesterday, I really enjoyed sort of how you handled it. We're going to take a quick look at the video and then come back and have a conversation about that. We're going to watch the video. The video.
Don't worry, she's going to answer you any minute now. So, look, do you work?
Auntie! Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon.
Auntie, good afternoon. I'm a land beg you happy?
Yeah. 2 plates to go.
Vuki. Ha. I don't turn big girl, fa.
Auntie, be like I go back here and go collect your change.
It seems like you're on.
What's up?
You're stained.
My dear, you don't become woman be that you. You will not do obìnrin here. You go hold yourself very well. Okay? Okay. Show to the bye. food where it's a food. Show it to the buy. You go come put her like this. You go make sure say the thing you know move for. Make it stay well. You go hold her well. Yeah, Baba.
Iyabuki, I go agree.
I don't know why I dey talk like this. Why I dey talk like this? Iyabuki? No be money Iyabuki I dey find.
You don't get shape. Eh? You don't go follow woman wey be your age. Now small picking like that, you just dey open your mouth and yarn about. No mind her. Dirty Aboki.
Hey, Chigi Dambanzani. Karua. Catch it down. Who join your mouth for this talk? Eh? Who put your mouth for this talk? Men they talk. Ashawo to I they talk.
And so, you think I dey shame? I be correct as Shawo. Correct one. I dey fuck men everywhere. You think I dey shame? I know dey shame. I dey work where I dey shame. I dey chief.
But see, if she uses stuff like this or tissues like some other people use, it will just be exposing her to all kinds of infections.
Oyibo. I don't tell you, say we not get money for that one. Kilo de buy ye.
It is my mama born me as a Shawo. Now men like una when no get shame for body, where God don't curse. You see small picking, you begin to touch her. You touch her once, touch her twice. Begin talking, mama no believe her. I will teach you supposed to. Maybe to try and enjoy am na remain.
Teaching you how to dress modestly. If they had done that, men would not have been sexualizing you in the first place.
My mom, she's raised me all on her own. For 14 years, she has been running this booker, using half of her monthly gains to send me to school, making sacrifices just to secure me a better future. And if it means I'll have to use clothes, instead of having her spend more money on some expensive pad for something that happens once in a month, then I don't mind. Besides, all the other girls in this area is what they are using, and they're all still very healthy. So please don't come here thinking because you came to buy a malagbegi, you now know everything that we're going through, because you don't.
Well done, applause.
Well done.
I mean, you dealt with so many issues literally within that 2 minute. I can't wait to see what you do in the 10 minutes that the rest of it. But you dealt with issues of period poverty, sanitation, sexual assault, silence, shame, victim shaming. You deal with so many different things in this. How, I mean, sort of where did the story come from? And
firstly, I would like to say life experiences. Personally, and people that have been related to one way or the other. And in different stories, basically, speaking about body shaming and victimization, I remember growing up as a young person, I was either bullied because of my size or because of how I looked or because of how I spoke, you know, and I remember also having access to other women and hearing their own issues or just the things that people felt like they were the norm. And, you know, we would just go past it. And I realized that at some point we conceptualize it within ourselves and we take it that way, not realizing that there are background stories to whatever it is that is ongoing in our lives. For instance, the person who one of them was calling a prostitute, you know, he did not know her story. He did not know what it is that she had gone through to get to where it is that she was at that point, you know. So these are things that happen within our societies every minute, every hour, every day, but then we overlook it. We silence it and we just feel like it's okay. And I'm at this point where I don't think it's okay anymore. It's never been okay. And we need to stop doing it I don't think I want it anymore. And I'm sure that there are millions of other people, especially here in Nigeria, who wouldn't want to, be victimized one way or the other. And so this was done as a result of some of the experience that I've seen other people or myself be part of one way or the other.
Wow. It's actually just so striking how regular biological functions of a woman's body cause so many problems.
Mm-hmm.
Having a period, you can't go to school, you can't do certain things. Did you see the customer in Mama Buki's restaurant immediately started to sexualize the child because she's had a period? In Nigeria, we talk about maternity mortality rates. Having a child, a normal biological function, you might die as a result of that. So it's actually a dangerous place in which to be a woman. What do you think of the efforts that I've been making to reverse this? Because there's a scene that it wasn't shown in the preview. There's a protest scene.
Yes.
This new culture of women speaking up and raising our voices. What kind of impact do you feel that that could have?
I think it's very vital because there's one person who has lost her voice because of something somebody has probably said to her, and she hears this other person raising her voice and it gives some sort of impact. She might not have the courage to say same, or she might not have the courage to do same at that time, but I feel like it has done some sort of impact that would go forward in the future for her to do better. Sometimes our parents or past generations didn't do the actual work because they didn't know how to do the work, because they were not taught how to do the work. So I feel I'm really excited with the way we're stirring up, we're stirring up conversations about things like this. This was one of the reasons why I had to speak up. When you have fuller hips and you're in your puberty and you start to see your period, people don't see you for the right reasons. They don't see, oh, she's an adult, she's growing, so we can talk about how she could become a better person for herself, for her family, for her community. But then they start to think, oh, she's ready to get married.
Yes.
Oh, she's ready to, they start to think things.
It's like the sexualization.
It's like a sexualizing,
Wow.
And
Chisom, we're going to ask you to hold that thought because we really want to continue talking to you about this issue and really what we need to do as a society to move forward. It's time now for a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to her lead actors and some of the actors in the film. I hope you'll join us. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the morning show. Here in the studio with us now are lead actors in Her, a short film that spotlights the current issues relating to the girl child, such as period poverty, child marriage, child molestation, rape, and environmental issues. Omotunde Adebowale David, popularly known as Lolo One, and Chinaza Ruby Akubueze. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And you are Buki and Mama Buki, the hardworking single mother restaurateur who's raising Buki, who has just started her period and had that scene. And I wanted to start with you, Buki, and talk about your experience portraying that character. And in the preview, there was a scene where you sort of told Halima that she doesn't understand the issues. Can you expand on that?
Okay, because those people who are more privileged than those other people in the less privileged society, they feel like it's normal for everyone to have access to these things, which is actually how it's supposed to be, but then it's not. That's not how it is in our society. A lot of us are out there and we don't have access to these vital things that are very important for us as teenagers, as growing women. But then we have so many other things that are made, that are subsidized, and then and those things are not very important in the society. Okay, take for instance things like condoms that are very cheap to get, but then you see stuff like sanitary towels that they're so expensive, people can't even afford it because, and it's not like bleeding, menstruation is a choice
optional,
you have. You have to bleed every month. And some of us even have longer periods, so it's really disheartening that the government is not really doing so much about it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Lulu, one, it's good to have you on the show. I wanted to ask you, as someone, when you took on this role, what were some of the important things and what really made you connect with this role?
The role was very challenging for me because she's a local woman that had next to nothing about education. And this is like a foster child for her. And the things that she thinks are important, she's doing, and that is sending her to school. So why would something as small as sanitary health be the major issue that she's going to have to face? And there's a way she had been cultured. That's how you can see what she brought out.
Yeah.
She brought out what she's used to. So she's not like a mean mother or that, oh, she doesn't want to help a growing child or a teenage daughter. But she can only do as much as she knows. And these are issues in the society that a lot of us, because we're privileged, you probably don't know how important sanitary health is to some people that are on that cadre. So when I portrayed your Mama Buki, it's like to enlighten a lot of people that these issues exist. And our girl child has been victimized on many levels. And this is another one that we're seeing. As similarly as it is, a lot of women can get infections that can affect their reproductive health moving forward just from their sanitary health alone.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that scene. Obviously, Mama Buki wasn't involved in that conversation where that man saw Buki as prey, now that she's come of age, and said what Mama Buki is looking for is money. So the economic situation a lot of parents find themselves in that makes them abdicate certain responsibilities that they have towards their children.
And really, what would you expect her to do? She has a restaurant and she has people to serve. So this girl is not just a girl child. She works in the shop with her mother. And she's seen herself as, she had prided herself in the fact that she even sends her to school, which is, she feels that she's done better than a lot of other mothers. Yeah. So it's like she's fair, but she cannot hold the praise at bay because this is where she gets some money from. So she expects her to be a little calm, to work with them, because this is where they get their livelihood from. So this puts her at risk also, because for a lot of praise that we've seen, the children grow up before their very eyes, that they have this sense of entitlement to them. Some of them would even tell you that, I saw you from when you were young. So like you grew up right before me, I have rights to you. I know you more than you know yourself. But these are things that we need to call people's attention to, that there's a way we need to protect our children. Even if they are on that level, there's still a way you need to stand up and stand for them. Because when they're teenagers, there's very little they can say for themselves. They just see the environment and the things that they see. But if the mother is strong enough to draw boundaries, you see that many of them won't even come, they won't cross it. Because once you put a line, people know that this is something you would not want, and they don't want to cross it.
Chisom, one of the things you did very well, sort of picking up on what Lulu once said, is really around making sure that people understood this was antisocial behavior, especially from the predator's perspective. One of the things that people try to do is, from a cultural perspective, we don't call out antisocial behavior. And I was very happy that you did. It was clear that this is not how you interact with the child. How do we continue that conversation after people see the film and ongoing and educate women like Mama Buki to say, you need to understand what is not acceptable and call it out?
Well, and this is the reason why the film was created, to stir up vital conversations that would prefer solutions to some of these things. We forget that in a society like this, we need information. A lot of us needs information. Some of us actually need reminders, but most of us need to know that these things actually happen, clear and precise. So
and language, you gave us language to use to banish those antisocial behaviors.
Yeah. So I mean, moving forward, we would, after the premiere of the film and screening the film, we would have turns of conversation cafe sessions where we would discuss this subject matters and figure out ways we could, prefer solutions to things like that. So for instance, one of the things we want to do with the film is to open a sanitary bank, you know, where we have a bag filled with hygienic sanitary pads, tampons, deodorants, bathing soap, detergent. You know, these things are very vital. It's not enough to just say, oh, you need to wear these things. We also need to start creating more awareness for a more conducive society. So we're trying as much as we can to reach out to organizations, the government, policymakers that can make these things more conducive, especially for people who do not have access to these things because they are beyond the poverty rates. They can't even afford certain things. I mean, coming from Iyabuke, imagine if Iyabuke has 2 daughters. So if she's going to buy a sanitary pad, that means she's going to have to buy for her, she's going to also buy for the other daughter, and she's also going to buy for herself. And how much does Iyabuke make a day?
Basically, that's almost like 1,500 naira
already.
every month, which right away you're already saying 1,500 naira. I still have to buy books. I have to buy uniform.
You know, so it's actually too much to handle. So I'm really hoping.
But she said something that's really important, which is over the years, there has been heavy subsidies on condoms. I don't want us to lose that. There's been heavy subsidies on condoms, and that is used for an act that you have a choice about. While you don't have a choice.
Like, yes. Let me even first address condoms. I think they're actually very important, I mean, for safety reasons.
They're very important.
And things like that. But, like you said, these things are subsidized. How about we do same for sanitary pads? I know in, I think, I'm not sure exactly, I think Ethiopia and South Africa, just like you walk in, there are certain public areas and schools where you walk in to pick free condoms. How about you walk in to pick free sanitary pads?
There's only one country in the world that does that. That's Scotland.
Oh, okay.
That's the only country in the world. In the United States, you actually pay tax, tampon tax.
Yes,
you actually pay extra. Can you imagine?
Wow.
When
It's very expensive.
Yes, it's extremely expensive in America.
Yes.
So poor people in America as well. I think the statistics is 1 out of 10 girls in America, when they're poor, they just stay at home. They can't come to school because you actually pay an additional tax on tampons, which is a natural function of the body. It boggles the mind. So, but tell us about the premiere so that we don't forget that. What are your plans for the premiere? And then after that, how can people
watch the film? Okay, so the premiere is on the 1st of August at the Mike Adenuga Center in Ikoyi. Yes. And we're looking to have amazing people like yourselves join us, and, you know, other vital personalities centered around the subject matter, you know, to see what we can do forward collectively, because it's important to collaborate as much as possible to make some of these things, in fact, all of these things go away. And then afterwards, we would officially start public screenings. We would have a first public screening on the 13th of August. Where like-minded people can come and watch at the African Artists Foundation in VI. And then we want to take this to schools.
How can people sponsor taking this to schools and sort of that money can go towards the sanitary bank?
We have like all the details.
On your website?
We have like an email address, so we're currently doing a lot of construction
social media?
work.
Can someone?
Social media, yes, social media as well. So people can follow on social media. People can also send emails.
Follow who on social media?
And follow me on social media at Somi, at @the_movie, @the_movie, at the Conversation Cafe _ and then also via emails, chisomjoanna@gmail.com and the movie her@gmail.com. So we're very happy to reach out to as many people as possible to create enough at the sanitary bank to be able to reach out to rural communities who do not have access to these things.
So I want to ask you, is this your first acting role?
No, it's not. I've done a couple of other productions before this.
And how was this different from the other ones?
It was different because it was even quite crazy because while filming, I was menstruating. So it was natural.
She was crying.
So it was very natural for me. So I was in so much pain, but then I had to.
And you had to go on set.
Yeah, she was.
I took care of her.
Yeah, she just took care of me, and it was so amazing. It was quite an experience working with Lolo. Goodness, such a stunning actor. Yeah.
Oh, thank you both. Thank you all so much for being here today. We wish you all the best, Chisom, and we'll definitely support in any way we can.
Absolutely.
Thank you.